Hi everyone, welcome to another video from Data Streams Academy. So we have talked about how we can create an S3 bucket, how we can create an EC2 instance. So today we are going to talk about how we can create a relational database services or relational databases in short, right? So you can search for RDS in the search window, or like I already have a recently visited where Aurora and RDS. So once you click on there, you will be reaching into the landing page like any other. When we went to EC2 and S3, you have seen a landing page where if you scroll down, so yeah, before we scrolling down, you can see different features here and how many DB instances or whatever is running, right? Which you will get a very high level idea about these clusters, if anything is running and all these things. So now I'm going to click on create database to create a database. So in this video, I'm going to take you through different RDS services or like RDS which AWS provide. And sorry. So I was not moving and I thought like my recording was not working. Yeah, fine. So this is the create a database window where we have two options, either standard create or easy create. So easy create is going to give you a predefined feature which I'll show you at the end of the video, so that like you will be able to relate how this is different from the standard. So when you choose this RDS, you got to choose like which RDS is which you are going to configure, right? So Aurora is MySQL compatible, and we have MySQL, PostgreSQL, right? This is Postgres. So Aurora is again in AWS one database. So all these are relational databases, okay? And MariaDB, you may have heard, Maria is an enterprise version of MySQL. So MySQL was acquired by Sun Microsoft Systems, and then that now owned by Oracle. And MariaDB used the same code of MySQL, because this MariaDB and my are named under the daughter of the one who built this MySQL and MariaDB. I could not recall the name. I might probably put that in this description there. So, but keep this in mind, both are similar, right? You know Oracle, what is SQL Server, like DB2 and all these things, right? Now let us see. So suppose I'm going to take SQL Server for this, and we'll take MySQL and SQL Server for this exercise, and we'll create one of this. We'll learn like how this is different from each other, right? So I'm like what I'm going to do, like it is Amazon RDS, right? And I have to choose, since it is SQL Server, I got to see, okay, which version, which edition of SQL I'm going to use. Do I need an Express edition, Enterprise edition, Standard edition, right? So these editions like come up with limitations, and like when you are going with a large scale, you probably have to go to Enterprise and all these things. So this is a like entirely different topic which we probably have to talk about SQL. So I'm going to take Enterprise edition, yeah, just for the name's sake. Then I got to select which version, right? Because SQL Server have been keep releasing their version. So I got to say like which version of SQL Server Enterprise edition I wanted to show. So like from 2016 to 2022, you would be able to see the version. So why this is important? Because when you create this database server, right, you got to create that, like if you have development test and all this environment, you got to be creating in the same version, right? And then only you will be like if there is a code upgradation, like 2019 may have some features which is not there in 2016. So if you don't keep this consistency across the environment, you will have issues. Or maybe if you are doing a migration, you got to like initially start with the same like version which you have in your like on-premises system. Yeah, so we have selected the Enterprise edition and 2019. So now we are telling the system that, okay, which template do I need to use? Like I can either say production or dev. So when it is dev, right, you will not have replications of multi-zone and all these things, because when you say production, you got to be little more conscious. So that is what they are asking, like, okay, see, if you read the best benefit, which when I was working in different cloud providers, right, one thing which I liked about AWS is like it is 80-90% is self driven. Like you would be able to reach that small description and you have idea about what you're going to create, you will get what they mean, right? use the default high availability and fast consistent performance, you have to use production. Or if this is an instant internet for the development use. And so I'll choose production. Let us, we are not going to create this, but just for the, so it is the name of your DB instance. I would say like DSA database, right? How this will work. So you have this conditions like how it should be. It should be yeah, it should be less than 63 characters and all these things. Yeah. And next is credential settings. So you can either use this AWS secret, or if you give this self-managed, you can give this. So this is my username admin. I can give a password, right? Yeah, so they are saying it is weak. So in the interest of time, I'll go with the secret manager. But you understood that you have an option to so that like this would be used to connect to this instance which we are creating, right? SQL servers. So encryptions we have already covered, like which encryption you wanted to do it on this encryption keys, right? Which when you connect to this, you need encryption keys, right? And yeah, like now it comes to the DB instance. You need to give, okay, you said I need a SQL server. So what is the configuration you need, right? So like how we did for EC2 instances, right? We also should be able to say like what configuration we need when you are going to set up this SQL server. So you have like standard, memory optimized, burstable class. So I have this burstable classes which is in free tier. I will take why am I not able to T2? Maybe the region might be the problem, or maybe SQL Server is not supporting that lower configuration. So it is 16 GB RAM with 4 CPUs. Okay, because I may have taken the enterprise edition. Let me try with an Express edition. Express edition is free with a lower configuration. It might allow you, see, like now, so this is what you got to understand, right? Like all these are related, and T3 micro is in under the free tier, so I should be able to get it for free. And storage, again we would say like what type of storage, SSD, GP3, IO. So this is like, yeah, low latency, high durable, intensity. So when based on all this thing, your cost is going to change, okay? And what is the size you want for the storage? You can say like 20, 30, 40, whatever the number, right? And IOPS is nothing but like input output per second. That means like what is the like rate of input output you are expecting into the server. So you can reduce these numbers or increase this number based on like the like load which you are expecting into this environment, right? And you also have additional storage configuration about auto scaling. So what is auto scaling? Yeah, if you disable this, you don't have anything to do. But auto scaling is like you can say, okay, I gave only 20 GB, but my server might increase over the period. So I don't want to do another configuration on top of it. So let me just say that okay, until 1000 it can increase automatically. So based on that, you will have charges, but this will like you don't need to like keep adding the space again and again, right? Yeah, then like connectivity is nothing but you if you have to connect to an EC2 instance to this server, which if you already have, right? So you are like creating a connection so that like through EC2 you will be able to connect to the server. So this is different from Boston server. It's like inside the same virtual network you will have this like VC2 would be able to connect. So you don't need to worry about that. The key areas which we need to think about, like which server you use, which edition which you use in case of SQL Server, and as well as like the configuration of the system, right? Like based on the usage you would be able to configure like 4 core, 16 GB or whatever. Then also on the IOPS plays a key role. So I'm not enabling auto scaling. Then this we covered, yeah, so here we have public access. So this would let us say, okay, do I need to let this SQL server allowed to be accessed outside this network? Like there is a virtual private cloud, okay? So that is nothing but you have a virtual network in the closed network, the access to the server is only inside it. But you think that, okay, I wanted to access this publicly for maybe some other external vendor wanted to access this and write the data. If you have those kind of requirement, you may have to enable public. Still, you got to be very conscious, and you should limit this access. That's again a security layer. You need to like limit the access from a specific IP to avoid this kind of cyber attacks. So I'm giving no because I don't have a requirement to get this publicly accessed, right? And this is a virtual private cloud which I was referring. So if you already have a cloud, right? Because in my case I deleted all this EC2 everything which I have already created. So let me see if VPC still exists. Yeah, this launch wizard, you can use this. The default is the one which got added. We can, if you want, you can delete this and add this. So it comes under that VPC, right? And what is availability? So I hope like you're clear about what is virtual private cloud. Now we are going to talk about availability zone. Right? So when we talk about cloud, right, you got to understand couple of very basic term which you will be hearing every time, maybe region, availability zone, data centers, right? So imagine that like AWS has a like data center in India, right? So what is availability zone? What is region? What is what is data center? This is what I'm going to cover. So region is like, okay, they are saying like this the right corner you can see, right, this United States and Virginia, this is a region. So inside this region you will have multiple availability zones. Okay, inside those each availability zone you will have multiple data centers. So what is availability zone? Under this region you will have this data centers with the with all these services which is deployed in multiple locations. If something happens in Kerala and but the system should still work, right? So you may have something in Chennai, something like that. So based on like what they have covered as a region, they will have multiple availability zones, and inside multiple each availability zone you will have multiple data centers. So these data centers are again like segregated from a location. It is not like one place. So that is how like AWS, Azure and all these like big giant client cloud providers are ensuring like your data is secure. And if it is production and all, they will say again like multi-region replication. So what is multi-region replication? Not just in like West Virginia, like North Virginia, you will also keeping this one copy in any other, maybe in Sydney, right, or maybe in Mumbai. You will say, okay, one of my copy of this data would be there. So whatever happens in US, right, you still have a data available in Mumbai, so you don't lose the data. But that's again costly because AWS has to refresh the data every minute. So like in that perspective it is costly, but the cost is to secure your data. Hope that is clear. And it also give like there are something called dead locations and all this. We'll talk about all that. I don't want you to get confused, but keep this in mind. Availability zones are something which comes under region, and there will be multiple availability zone that helps you to replicate your data, so that like even one zone is gone, you will have the data in the other zone. Yeah. So here if I select, okay, this is my availability zone. If you click on info, you'll get this information. Again on the right side, choose the availability zone from the current AWS region to create a database in availability zones. Improve the high availability. What is high availability? If something goes wrong or some patching or something is happening, you still have things as it is by referring to the other region. By isolating failures from other availability zone where the supporting low latency connectivity in the region. Because in the same region you will have multiple availability zones, so that like when you say, okay, mine is in US, you will always get like North Virginia, you will always get that access to the same region when you have multiple availability zone, even one is gone. Okay. Yeah. So this is the certification. So whatever is optional you don't need to worry about. An additional configuration like which is the database port if you wanted to change it. So by default SQL server use 1433 as support, so that like we'll be using this port to connect to this server. And yeah, SQL server, if you want to enable Windows authentication, once you check you will get the options like self-managed active directory you wanted to use or AWS one. I'm not giving those options. And tags we already covered when we were doing this S3 bucket and EC2. Tag will help you to create different keys and will help you to refer these information later. Yeah. So this is about monitoring. You can use standard or advanced monitoring. You would be able to retain those informations. And keep this in mind, I'm still using AWS free account. I have a video which is already there in this YouTube channel which help you to create an AWS account. So if you are interested, wanted to understand, deep dive into this, until and unless you create the services, you will not get charged, and some of the services are free. Like if I take EC2 as an example, I had a free tier, so I didn't pay anything. And this one also, I'll show you how this work. And this is keys which we covered. So this is the key which we created for this EC2 instance, if you remember. Okay, so I'm like now if you scroll down you will see something called estimated monthly cost. So they're saying okay, 318 USD would be the total. So let us see, we'll scroll all the way up and they'll say instead of that I'm going to use an enterprise edition. You can see this is changed, right? Your database instance is costing you $2,400 now, which was like, yeah, your $300 is changed to $3,000. So that is how the difference. So here this extra cost goes to this enterprise editions charge. If you go to standard is little cheaper than enterprise. I'm not changing anything else. Yeah, 1700. So this is how, like, once you are here, right, you would be able to, if you just make the changes on this configurations as well, you will be able to change this. If you make this SSD, see, this is just came into this because I think that one is free, which I have selected now. Okay, now yeah, this, since I changed this to enterprise, that become yeah, the previous option it wasn't showing that, right? So this is how, like, you would be able to very high level configure. So what you have to understand here is like all these controls are in your hand. If I click on create, this is going to create an instance and we will be able to access. Given I'm not planning to create this SQL server, let me create MySQL one. And is this same how you create SQL server, MySQL and all? The answer is no. In terms of MySQL, again, like AWS is more open source related system. That's how I would look at it. And you can see different types of things. So you have production, dev, free tier. So I'm taking free tier, but before I take that, let me show you what is production. So you can see multi AZ means availability zone, multi availability zone DB cluster deployment. So what does it say? You have, as the image says, right, you have one read write endpoint and you have two read endpoint. Think about a scenario like you have so much of read and write happening on the same database, right? There is a very high chances that you will have a slowness. So in some cases, like I have a high read and less write, but however I wanted to like get the best out of it, so that you will be able to create this read endpoint. So these two are read. So availability zone 2 and 3 would completely use for reading purpose. Availability zone 1 will be using for reading and writing purpose. And this data which is there in AZ1 is going to be replicated in 2 and 3. So based on that, definitely cost would increase because these operations configurations are being managed by AWS, right? And this is multi. So these kind of options were not available in SQL Server when we were doing previously, right? So again, similar options, nothing much you need to worry. Like you will be giving the compute is nothing but what we covered, just we discussed, right? Those three option, t tire and all these things. Yeah, based on what configuration you need. So here key components, one is CPU, second one is RAM, third is network speed, and instant storage. So what is instant storage? How much storage you would get along with this configuration, right? So that we would be able to select. And yeah, these things are all same: public access, private access, tags, monitoring, all these things. We also have like monitoring options to log exports, like we would be able to select the log types to publish in Amazon CloudWatch. So there are services called CloudWatch, CloudTrail. Those things is again like the administrative or the monitoring level of things. So the question, so here we can enable, and this log will be published to the CloudWatch logs. Okay, so here you can see $1,400, DB instance is 400, and storage 150, and IOPS is $900. So what I'm going to do here, so hope you got an idea. So we are going to do two more things and wind up this video. One is like what EC create look like. So when you click on EC create, nothing much changes. So if you are taking MySQL, my previous example, I have taken MySQL, you got these three options right away, right? So I am going to take free tire. They themselves selected, okay, this configuration is apt for you, and like the name is already there. So that, like, see, there is no complicated questions for you, right? You click on create and you are done. So that is what easy create look like. If you have like basically wanted to create a straightforward machine and you don't want to do so much of customization, go for easy create. Otherwise you go for standard. So I'm taking free tire one, not much, and you can see like there is no cost information, right? So let us try if it is production. Is it the same way, or am I still seeing this? Yeah, so if you scroll down, okay, okay, so I think I didn't know that it was not showing the cost. So we better take the standard create, because I just wanted to make sure that how much I would be charged, right? I'm going with MySQL. I'm taking free tire. So all these complicated options are gone. Not taking anything else. Yeah, T3 micro is a free tire one. That is why like they have auto selected, right? Yeah. So scroll down. Yeah, so estimated monthly cost. Hammer RDS free tire is available for 12 months. Each calendar month the free tire allows. So that like I would be able to create this instance for free. I'm going to click on create database. See, if I'm not getting it free, I would have got a cost information, as you have seen, right? So this is an add-on they are showing, like kind of an ad system, right? They're saying, okay, you can create an elastic cache cluster on RDS or RDX proxy. We are not going to create all this. Yeah, you can see these add-ons. So I'll say close it. So this is getting created. Yeah, in the interest of time, it is still getting created. I have been waiting for a few minutes. So we'll wind up this video just by showing how we would connect, but it is set to create. So we'll be doing in another video talking about how we can connect to this database instance and how we will be creating. It's a MySQL instance again. So if you click on view credential, right, you will be able to see what is your like master username, and you'll be able to click here to manage your credential, and here you can see a link like learn about connecting to your database, right? If you click on this link, right, it will open something like this. So it's opening. So connecting to your MySQL DB instance, and this is what I said earlier when I was doing the video. Like AWS is like a lot of information and documentation they have, right? Now if you are very first time and you have no idea how to like connect, because you created this going through the documentation, you can't connect, you can go through all these things. You will be able to understand how we can connect. Sorry, so this was the link, and this is the second link I opened. So connecting to Amazon RDS instance, and if you scroll down, you'll see all these different servers like which we discussed. are there, and if you click on MySQL, this is going to open you, and you can like go through these directions, and will be able to do that. In the next video we are going to talk about how we can connect to this MySQL instance. My instance is still getting created, and yeah, it is backing up, so it will be ready in few minutes. So in the next video, as a continuation, I'll be talking about how this. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you.